Conservative new media viewers, Jeremy Lin fans around the world, LA Lakers fans around the world. What is up? It's me, PFV, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here to discuss in the long video format the Lakers' 108-101 defeat tonight, actually this afternoon if you're on the West Coast in the USA, to the Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, California. With the win, the Kings improved to 12-15, and with the defeat, the Lakers dropped to 8-19 on this season. Now, let me just say this quickly. I said this in the short video, and we did make a short video about this game, so if you'd like to check that out as well, or instead of this long video, or watch the short video first and come back and watch this long video later, you can check that out. It's about 10 minutes long or something like that. This might be the final video that I do before the holidays. I don't know my travel schedule quite yet, so there's a chance I might be around to do the upcoming game on, I believe it's Tuesday, against the Golden State Warriors in Staples Center, but I'm not sure if I will be there around for that or not. So just, I would say, look for me to not be around, and if I do a video for that game, it's a bonus. Looks like I might miss the next 4 or 5 games. Either I'll be back for the Denver game on December 30th, or the Denver game will be the final game that I do not do. And then I will come back and do the Memphis game on January 2nd, and then we'll just pick it up from there. So, again, I will miss some games coming up, and it could be the next 4 to 5 games. Just so if you don't see the videos, we'll be back. Just holiday travels, and we certainly wish everybody happy holidays to you and your families. We hope everybody has a great holiday season. Okay, let's go over stats really quickly. DeMarcus Cousins led the Kings with 29 points and 14 rebounds. He looked fantastic. Rudy Gay, 24 points, 6 assists. Ben McLemore, 23 points, 8 rebounds. And Darren Collison, 19 points, 3 assists. Lakers were led by Nick Young with 26 points and 5 rebounds off the bench. Kobe Bryant, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Kobe did take 30 shots. He only hit 8 of them. He also had 9 turnovers. We'll be talking more about Kobe in a moment. Ed Davis, 10 points, 5 rebounds. Jeremy Lin, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Jeremy played 21 minutes, shot 1 of 3 from the field, including 0 of 1 from three-point range, 2 of 2 free throws, 0 steals, 0 blocked shots, 3 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, and his plus-minus was -1. The overall for the game is that the Lakers were up by 8 points at halftime, and they looked very good. They then went up by 13 points midway through the third quarter. And then the play of the game happened. Darren Collison was coming down in transition, I believe, on the left-hand side of the court. And he was advancing like he was going to drive to the basket. Ronnie Price kind of stopped and almost like body blocked Darren Collison. Like he was trying to take a charge, but it was a very aggressive stop by Ronnie Price. He kind of bumped into Darren Collison really hard. Darren Collison went down to the ground. His mouth was bloody. He may have lost a tooth in the collision. Whatever happened with that play, whether it was legal or not, whatever it was, and it was legal. It was a common foul. It was not a flagrant foul. The referees reviewed it. No flagrant foul. It wasn't a dirty play. But that play woke the Kings up. They were kind of playing at a pretty low level and really not focused. And that play, like, I guess it got them mad. And they're like, what? What's going on? And all of a sudden, they just went on a run. They basically, right after that play occurred, they went on a 17-1 run. And they retook the lead going into the fourth quarter. The Lakers fought back, and they took the lead at like 91-90 or something, I don't know, midway through the fourth or so. Then the Kings got the momentum back, and they closed out the game. So that's basically what happened. I think that if the Ronnie Price foul on Collison didn't take place, I think the Lakers would have won this game because the Kings just couldn't get it going. They weren't into it. But that play woke them up, and it woke the crowd up. It gave them something to rally around, and that carried them through the rest of the game. They outscored the Lakers by 19 points in the game from that point on. For Jeremy tonight, the overall here is he played pretty well. He played well. The only thing I take away from him is his turnovers. But we'll go over them quarter by quarter, but the first one of them I know was an aggressive turnover. And so I don't really have a problem with it. He was pushing the pace, and it was a mistake. I think only one of them maybe was kind of like, okay, he shouldn't have done that. But overall, he was effective, particularly in the first half. In the second quarter, he and the bench really brought the team back because they were down. The starters weren't able to get it done once again, and we've seen that a lot since the new starting lineup has been installed. Then in the second half, it's a little less effective, but the Kings, I think when Jeremy came in, he came in right after that foul that Ronnie Price had on Darren Collison. So at that point, it was like Jeremy came in when the tsunami was about to hit. And it was kind of like he got caught up in the tsunami, essentially. So it was an okay outing. He did lead the team with 5 assists. He shot 1 of 3. Okay, that's not a great shooting percentage, but you can't really judge much off of 3 field goal attempts. So that's the only thing I would say is the turnovers. I thought his energy was good. His confidence was good. So let's just keep playing. He didn't have a chance to really affect the outcome in the second half. I guess the easiest way to say it. He did have a chance in the first half, and he did a really good job. Now, in terms of pregame stuff, usually we'll talk about what was going on before the game, the kind of the chatter around the team and what was going on. There really wasn't much before this game. There was no big stories or somebody called somebody out or trash talk in practice. There really wasn't anything. So there's not a whole bunch to say about that. There are some things to say from after the game, and I will get to that once we go through quarter by quarter. I did not see the complete post-game interviews, but I did hear about some of what was said, and it seems to concern Kobe, how many minutes he's playing, whether he might take some time off, etc. So we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, let's go through some selected quarter-by-quarter information here and talk more about the game in depth. Okay, the one sign that was negative in this game early for the Lakers was that Kobe was getting a bunch of turnovers quickly. By the middle of the first quarter, Kobe already had 3 turnovers and an air ball on a wide open shot. So quickly, it looked like, okay, Kobe's still, maybe his legs aren't quite there, which we saw last game. Maybe he's still kind of tired from how many minutes he's playing. And that's not a good sign. I also noticed Darren Collison started out hot in this game. And Ronnie he had some really nice plays. Ronnie did. He did some very good things in this game, but he was having a hard time getting past screens set by Sacramento, and so Collison was getting wide open looks. Another time, Ronnie overhelped on defense, I think on the post, and that left Darren Collison wide open for a three-pointer on the right side, which he nailed. So there was Darren Collison was doing well early against Ronnie, I guess is probably a good way to say it. Then the announcers mentioned that Kobe Bryant has the second most isolation plays run for him, or he runs the second most in the league, behind only James Harden. And that's not a huge surprise. And Kobe's an isolation player, and he's good at it. The problem is now, as he's getting older and his efficiency is kind of slipping some, it's becoming a lower percentage play. And I think that this goes into maybe some fatigue that's coming up with him because he's playing a lot of minutes. Plus, he's still adjusting from the Achilles injury, and I think that's affected his shot mechanics some. So they'll have to monitor that. The team will, Byron will, as we keep going forward here. Okay, then late in the first, the announcers said that the Lakers bench has been much better since Carlos Boozer and Jeremy Lin joined it, which makes sense. I've said this before in other videos, and this is definitely a true thing for any NBA team. You must have a good second unit if you expect to win games. Now, of course, everybody wants to start, and they might deserve to start. But if you have all of your best players on the first unit and the bench isn't any good, you're not going to win a lot of games, because what will happen is you might run up a lead with your starters, then you put your bench in, and they get smoked. They just get crushed. So there is some logic to having talent on the bench, which is kind of the reason why Manu Ginobili of the San Antonio Spurs plays off the bench. He's a starting caliber player. He certainly used to be, but he's a scorer and playmaker off the bench. And so you kind of understand it. And to be fair to Byron, the bench has been good since he made the starting lineup change. And so the goal is to win rather than to make people feel good because they're starters. So if you win, then it works. And the bench has been better than the starters since the starting lineup was changed. But the team was winning, so it doesn't matter. Then you can just say, well, it worked. And of course, Jeremy Lin fans don't want to hear that. And I'm not trying to say Jeremy's better off the bench, because he's not. But for the coach, the bottom line is, if you win, then it works. So there was some logic. Now, the logic, I think, is starting to change because now the team has lost 3 games in a row. And to be completely honest, I've mentioned this before, the 3 games that the Lakers won in a row with the starting lineup was Sacramento, San Antonio, and Minnesota. All 3 of those teams were hurt with injuries, and 2 of them are just bad teams, Sacramento and the Timberwolves. But so I think there was a little bit of a fool's gold aspect to the Lakers winning streak, is what I'm trying to say, in the sense that you beat the Kings in Los Angeles, and I think the Kings are on a back-to-back, I believe, and they were missing their best player in DeMarcus Cousins. And still, that was a close game. You beat the Spurs in San Antonio, which was clearly the best game of the year, the best win of the year for the Lakers. However, in that game, Tony Parker played 15 minutes, and then he hurt his hamstring again. I think Kawhi Leonard did not play, and I think they were missing one or two other guys. Then you play the Minnesota Timberwolves in Minnesota, but they're missing Ricky Rubio, Pekovic, Kevin Martin, and maybe one or two other guys. So that the Lakers are now on a losing streak, to me, isn't really surprising. And we've talked before, the rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. This team isn't mega talented. The Lakers are not. The coaching strategies and who's being used and how they're being used might not be the best. And you have a new coach, you have a new system, and you have a whole bunch of new guys playing together that don't know each other. So this isn't a real shock. And I think that the Lakers are kind of coming down to earth a little bit in a way that's not unexpected. On the other hand, the Lakers absolutely could have won this game. So in that sense, it is disappointing because they could have won this game. And one other thing I will say is, and I mentioned this before in other videos, the Lakers do look fairly deep. And now you can imagine how deep they would have been if Steve Nash, Julius Randle, Xavier Henry, and even Ryan Kelly, who hasn't played much yet this year, had all been healthy. Then I think you could have seen a team that would have made a serious chase at a playoff spot, even in the West, as tough as it is. Because the team they do have depth. And the bench is doing well now. And you could imagine what it would look like if they had a little bit more talent with those guys that are injured. So it's just unfortunate. That's the way it goes. Jeremy came into the game for the first time late in the first quarter with 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. At that point, the Kings were up 22-14. Came in for Ronnie. He had a nice challenge, a defensive contest against a Darren Collison jump shot, which forced Darren into a miss. Then Jeremy himself missed his first field goal attempt of the contest, where he drove into the basket. He was trying to draw a foul, but they did not call anything, and so Jeremy was credited with a missed field goal attempt. Now, on the play, I thought it could also have been called a turnover. It was kind of a play where he went up in the air and he kind of, convulsed his body. He tried to draw a foul and the ball went out of bounds or something. But they called it a missed field goal rather than a turnover. So that's what it looked like. Okay. Then early in the second, Jeremy had his first and only basket of the game. He drove right into DeMarcus Cousins, drew some contact, and scored a layup on the left side of the basket, I believe. Nice play. The announcers credited him, did the Lakers announcers, and they said basically yeah, he definitely, that's a good way to be able to finish even when you get hit. And DeMarcus Cousins is a huge guy, and he's, 270, 275 pounds. So it was a nice play by Jeremy. Then Mike Trudell, the Lakers sideline reporter, came in and said that the bench has been playing great, and that not only has the Lakers bench been playing well, they've been playing well on defense. Because mostly, said Mike, when you think about the Lakers bench, you think about them being offensively talented, but maybe defensively challenged, like Carlos Boozer or Jeremy Lin. That's the perception anyway. But he credited guys for playing defense, like Boozer and Wayne Ellington. Speaking of Wayne Ellington, I saw some pictures from this past weekend that I believe, I can't remember if it was Penny Lee or Libra Free on Twitter put up. It's basically Jeremy Lin hanging out, or actually no, they retweeted it from somebody else. somebody had seen Jeremy out at like a pool hall or bar playing pool, and it looked like he was with Wayne Ellington. So maybe those guys are getting some off-court chemistry, and that's good. That helps on the court. Just kind of have a little team camaraderie there. Then Jeremy had his first assist of the game. He drove to the middle of the paint from the left-hand side. He drew a double team. This was off a pick and roll, and then he basically threw the ball like over his head to Carlos Boozer, who was right under the basket. And Carlos was just wide open for a layup. Great play. That was a really nice play, and the announcers were like, yeah, that was pretty good. And then they mentioned, did the Lakers announcers, that after the last game, when Kobe had the game-winning shot attempt and missed it, and Jeremy after the game said that he'd like some game-winning shots too. The announcers mentioned that, and it was good. It's like, yeah, we hear all this stuff. Jeremy's not confident and he's scared. Well, I guess he isn't, because here he is saying that, I'd like to be able to take some game-winning shots myself. So that's good. That's little swaggy alpha Jeremy. That's what we like to see. Okay, then Jeremy had his first turnover of the game. This is still early in the second. He was driving from the left-handed side of the court going towards the rim. And what happened was he was not able to get a step and go past his man. So he didn't get the spot that he wanted to get on the drive. He then was kind of trapped, realized he probably should pass, and he went to pass backward, and the defender knew it was coming. And so the defender picked off the pass. It wasn't a great play. It kind of fits into the category of don't jump to pass type of a thing, but it didn't really bother me because Jeremy was playing fast. He's playing like, let's put pressure on the Kings here. And so when you play at a fast pace, you will make mistakes. That's just part of the package. But I thought that overall, because Jeremy was playing fast, it was helping the Lakers. So in that situation, you just have to live with a couple turnovers here and there. Moving on in the middle of the second, right after that play, so right after that turnover that he had, that led to a Sacramento layup. And then, as soon as they scored the layup, Jeremy got the ball. I think another Laker passed the ball to Jeremy out of bounds after Sacramento had made the layup. And Jeremy pushed the ball up to Nick Young for a three-pointer. And so this is what I'm saying. That sequence was a net +1 for the Lakers. Jeremy's turnover leads to layup for Kings, but then Jeremy goes back at the Kings, who are not ready on defense because they just scored, and that leads to a Nick Young three-pointer. So you get a +1 out of that exchange. And that's what I'm saying. He kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and it was working. It was really helping the Lakers. So in those situations, you will live with the turnovers. Okay, then that made the score 35-35. So the bench was leading the comeback, and it was working great. Then Jeremy had an would-be assist that turned into free throws for the Lakers. Jeremy got a defensive rebound, and he raced up the court. He passed the ball to Wayne Ellington on the left side of the basket, and Wayne went up for a layup, and he was fouled. So, again, that does not count as an assist for Jeremy Lin, but it led to 2 Lakers free throws. Jeremy came out of the game for Ronnie Price with 6 minutes and 50 seconds left, and the Lakers had come all the way back. So they were down by a considerable margin, and when Jeremy left the game, they were up 39-37. They then went to Robert Horry and Michael Cooper in the Time Warner Cable studios, and Horry and Cooper both said, yeah, the bench is playing great. The bench is good. They're playing aggressive, and they got the comeback done, and that's exactly what happened, and Jeremy was a big part of that. Then I put the Darren Collison, with just blew right by Ronnie. So Darren is very quick. And we've said before about Ronnie, he's probably a little bit better man-to-man defender than Jeremy, but he's not a great defender overall. It's just he's not in like a top echelon defender. And Darren is super fast, and he was doing what he wanted to do, basically. Okay, then with all of the Lakers starters were back in now, and they were giving up the lead. So now we're at 48-43 Sacramento. So all of the good work that the Lakers bench had done was going down the tubes. And then the announcers mentioned that the Lakers had won 6 of the last 7 against the Kings. So they're 6-1 coming into this game in their last 7 games against the Kings. Unfortunately, that didn't continue after today. Ronnie then picked up his 3rd personal foul of the half, so he had to come out of the game with 3 seconds left because Byron Scott did not want him to get his 4th foul in the first half. So Jeremy came in for the final 3 seconds of the second quarter, and but at that point the Lakers had made a run, so it was the starters had done well. They had gotten down, and then they kind of made a run back, so give them credit there. At halftime, the score was 60-52 for the Lakers. So it looked like the starters were starting to figure it out, and the Lakers looked like they were in control. Looked like they had a really good chance of winning this game and getting off the 2-game losing streak and kind of getting things going. Moving into the third quarter, Ronnie had a couple of nice plays. Well, actually, no, he had one play that was tough. And the reason why I'm focused on Ronnie is because he plays point guard, which is what Jeremy plays. So I'm always watching Jeremy's spot. That's where a lot of my focus goes in on. So that's why I'm mentioning Ronnie so much. Ronnie had a turnover that went for a Sacramento layup, but then Ronnie himself had a nice little post-up play against Darren Collison, which he scored. And Rudy Gay had a really great play that you'll see on all the highlights where he went up for a huge dunk and he was fouled. So it was like a little and one dunk, and it was pretty impressive. Rudy's a very good athlete, and you saw it on that play. Then going into the middle of the third, Kobe was having some difficulties on defense. He left Ben McLemore to double-team somebody else, and then Ben McLemore was wide open for a three-pointer, which he hit. Then Kobe was stripped of the ball, which was then his 6th turnover of the game. The Lakers at this point were up 71-65, so they were still up 6 points here in the middle of the third. Then came the play that changed everything, with the Lakers up 13 points. And this was about, I would say, I don't know, maybe 6 minutes left. No, I take that back. Maybe it was about 5 minutes and 15 seconds left. This is where Ronnie Price got this foul, a hard foul on Darren Collison. And again, they banged bodies. I guess Collison hit his mouth against Ronnie. Collison fell down on the ground, was down for a bit. Excuse me. His mouth was bloody. He may have lost a tooth. I'm not sure. I don't know. It was Ronnie's 4th foul of the game, which is a problem. You're still in the middle of the third quarter. And the referees went to check if it was a flagrant foul. It was not, so it was a common foul. And right after that, that's when Sacramento they woke up, basically. They were down 13 points, and now everything was about to change for the rest of the game. After the foul, Byron Scott substituted Jeremy in for Ronnie, probably just to kind of – Ronnie had 4 fouls, maybe wanted to kind of cool him out a little bit or whatever. So Jeremy came in with the score 79-69 for the Lakers. And there were 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Then Darren Collison immediately scored over J-Lin. And it's like I said, Jeremy came in, the tsunami was just coming into shore. Darren Collison was mad, and he wanted to take it out on somebody. And Jeremy was the person who basically was there when this happened. Soon after that, Kobe had his 7th turnover of the game. Then Jeremy missed his second and final attempt, or his second and final miss of the game. This is late in the third quarter. Jeremy took a three-pointer from about 40 degrees left of the top of the arc. It did not go in. The Kings pouring it on now, just pouring it on. And pretty soon the game was all tied up 79-79. At this point, the Kings were on a 13-0 run. And then Jeremy had a play that was, they didn't count it as anything. I don't think they did. Or maybe they didn't. It was the earlier one that didn't count as anything. He basically threw a ball off the backboard on a shot attempt. And I guess it was a miss. I guess the earlier miss, they did not count as a miss or a turnover. They must have taken that away. Basically, Jeremy went up. He was on an isolation play. He went up to try to shoot from the right-hand baseline, and he just didn't have the angle, and it went off the side of the backboard. So that was his final miss of the game. Then Ben McLemore had another Kings super highlight that you will see on all highlight reels, along with the Rudy Gay dunk. And this one was Ben McLemore got the ball in transition, and Kobe was kind of back, but he couldn't jump with Ben McLemore. And basically, Ben McLemore did this super dunk with Kobe near him in transition. That made the run for Sacramento 15-0. They were up 81-79. And then finally, Robert Sacre would hit a free throw to break the 15-0 run. So at the end of three quarters, the score was 81-80 for Sacramento. They had come all the way back. And the Lakers looked like they were in trouble. They looked like they were in trouble because they had lost the momentum. And once you lose it, it's difficult to regain it. Heading into the fourth, Jeremy then had his second turnover of the game. He tried to kick the ball out in transition. It was a 2-on-2 break. There were two Lakers in running, and there were two Kings back. Jeremy drove to the basket. He did not have an angle to shoot because the defender had gotten a good position on between him and the rim. Jeremy tried to kick the ball out for, I think it was Wayne Ellington on the right-hand side for a three-pointer, but the defender saw it and he intercepted it. Not a great play, but the idea was good. It's just you have to know where the defenders are. I'm not going to blame Jeremy too much on that play because the concept was good. He didn't see the defender until it was too late. He didn't know the defender was in the vicinity, basically. You'd wish he didn't turn it over, but it wasn't one of the worst turnovers you ever see. But then right after that play, Jeremy forced the Kings to miss in transition. So after that turnover, the Kings ran down. They were going up for a shot, and Jeremy made him miss it. So he, again, like he did on the first turnover, he corrected the mistake. Then Jeremy had his third turnover and final turnover of the game, and I don't remember what it was right now. I honestly have it written down with a question mark, so I can't really comment on it because I didn't see it. So I can't say if it was bad or not bad. Then Jeremy had a nice pass to Carlos Boozer right at the rim, driving in from the left side, and Carlos lost the ball. So that was another blown assist. At this point, it was 83-80 for Sacramento. And going back to when Ronnie Price fouled Darren Collison hard, Sacramento was now on a 17-1 run. And the Lakers had missed 14 consecutive shots. So they were They were reeling. And it looked like, wow, this might get really ugly. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. With the score 85-83 Lakers, so they had turned it around a little bit. Jeremy had a great play. He had an assist to Nick Young. Nick Young hit a three-pointer on the pass from Jeremy, and Nick Young was fouled. So it was a 4-point play. Nick hit the free throw, and that made the score 89-83 Lakers. Lakers are feeling confident. Nick was having some swag. Looked like they had regained the momentum. Maybe they could keep it. But then right after that play, which was Nick Young hit the shot against Rudy Gay, I believe. Then Rudy Gay came down and shot a three-pointer right in Nick Young's face. So that was the instant payback. And then another Kings player hit a three-pointer soon thereafter. That made it 89-89. So if the Lakers thought that they were going to pull away there, they were not able to do that. The Kings answered the challenge once again. Then Jeremy had his fifth and final assist of the game as we head to the middle of the fourth. Passed the ball to Robert Sacre for a made jump shot. I take it back that earlier what I thought was a turnover was not for Jeremy. Here was his third and final turnover. He was driving. He stopped. He went to do an up and under move, which is you're pivoting like you're doing a post move. You're spinning. And you stop. Your defender is in front of you and like close to you. What you do is you're allowed to move one of your feet. You must keep your what is known as your pivot foot planted. So you cannot move one of your feet, but you can move the other. And so what Jeremy tried to do was he tried to go under the defender and then get a shot, space to shoot. But when he made the move, he traveled. He moved his pivot foot, which you are not allowed to do. So meaning he moved both feet rather than just moving one foot. Once you stop your dribble and you're stationary, you can then only move one foot. And he moved both of them. But it wasn't a bad play. It just he executed it poorly. So like I said, I really didn't have a problem with any of these turnovers because none of them were just like, oh boy. I mean, two of them were made at high speed, the first two. And then this one was just, it wasn't a bad idea. He was trying to make a move. He just didn't do it right. So, okay. Then the Lakers regained the lead. They were up 91-90. And at this point in the game, the Lakers were 10 of 19 from the three-point line. So they were over 50% from the three-point line. It looked like we were back into last year playing Mike D'Antoni ball, and it was working. So it was nice to see that. Then Kings regained the lead, 92-91. And DeMarcus Cousins was now playing against Ed Davis. And as good of a defensive player as Ed Davis is in terms of blocking shots and just being active and athletic, he's not that big. He's not a stocky guy. I don't know how much Ed weighs, but I don't know. He's not big enough physically to guard DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus is at least 30 to 40 pounds heavier than Ed Davis. And when you have that much of a mass disparity, what happens then is that the offensive player will be able to back down the defensive player, almost always. There are exceptions, but they're very, very rare. And Ed Davis is not an exception. DeMarcus was just mauling him, basically, and it was a problem for the Lakers. Okay, then with Sacramento up 94-91 and 5 minutes left in the game, Jeremy came out of the game for the final time, as did Carlos Boozer, and they were replaced by Ronnie Price and, I believe, Jordan Hill. So the lineup that the Lakers had, and this was the closing lineup for the night, was Ronnie Price, Nick Young, Kobe, Ed Davis, and Jordan Hill. It was all of the starters except Wes Johnson. And so it was Nick Young in for Wes Johnson. Then Sacramento went up. They hit another shot, 97-91. And Rudy Gay had a really, really nice defensive play. He blocked Kobe's shot, and that led to a Sacramento alley-oop and layup. So Sacramento was really taking over now, and they were starting to cruise and kind of kick into gear. Then we got to 99-91 Sacramento. They were up by 8 points. Late in the fourth, Byron took a timeout, and so the Lakers had made their charge early in the fourth, middle of the fourth. But now Sacramento had withstood that charge, and they were on their own charge. Okay. Then Darren Collison had a really nice play against Ronnie. He beat him on a backdoor play, so he cut off the ball and got position. The pass was given to him, and he hit a layup. Then Ronnie had a very nice play. He stole the ball. Sacramento was inbounding the ball because what had happened was at this point in the game, and the Kings were still up 8 points with about 3 minutes left. And what Byron did was he put in a full court press, meaning you're going to harass and defend the Kings even when they are not over half court. So you're going to harass them once they inbound the ball all the way up the court. This is done to slow down the offense and disrupt the rhythm of the offense, kind of get them off guard. And it worked. Ronnie had a really nice play. He stole the ball, gave the ball to Nick, and Nick was fouled. So that was good. And I put that the full court press is rattling Sacramento, which it absolutely did. After that, Kobe had his 8th turnover of the game. He ran into DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus Cousins took a charge, and it was a nice play by DeMarcus Cousins. He's very mobile for such a big man. His feet are quick, and credit to him. Kobe was very unhappy with the call. He yelled something at the ref, I believe. Could have gotten a technical foul, but did not. That's what the announcer said. At this point, the Lakers had 16 turnovers, and Kobe had 8 of them. So he had accounted for half of the Lakers' turnovers in the game at this point. That's what the announcer said that. Soon after, Nick Young had an air ball on a 3-point attempt, so the rally was not looking good. Then to kind of seal the game off, DeMarcus Cousins had a dunk like over his own head and over Jordan Hill, right under the basket. It was a really nice play. And DeMarcus is a monster. He's missed several weeks with the viral meningitis, which is pretty serious. Before he was sick, he was dominating. And I felt bad for him because it was like, oh man, he was with the FIBA team in the World Championships. He played extremely well. It was like a breakout for him, and he was starting to play well early this season. And it's like, oh man, feel bad for the dude. Now he's sick. He's ruining his good work is going to go down the tubes. But fortunately, it wasn't like that. I mean, this is only his second game back, and it looks like he hadn't missed anything. So good for him. If he can maintain this level, and there's no reason to think that he can't, he is going to be one of the best players in the league. And he looked like that tonight. Okay. Then Kobe had his 9th turnover of the game. I don't remember what it was. It was his 9th and final turnover. Then Kobe came out of the game because the game was over, and he looked exhausted. He's just, we'll talk about that in a second. He just looked really, really tired. Sacramento wins. They end their own 5-game losing streak. And the final then, as I mentioned, was 108-101. Now let's look at the post-game stuff that was going on that I heard about. Discuss that. First, let me say Kobe played 38 minutes. He is playing heavy minutes. I'd have to look at the exact figures, but I would say he's playing around 36 minutes a game, or 35 to 36. That's a lot. That's pretty high, particularly for somebody at his age, his mileage, and coming off the injuries that he has had. And so what was said after the game, because Kobe, he shot 27% from the field tonight, and he shot 20% in the last game. So for the last 2 games, he's shooting like 25% from the field. And it was Mark Spears of Yahoo Sports reported after the game that Byron Scott had said post-game that he's going to talk to Kobe about the possibility of sitting out a game or two to remove fatigue after Kobe's poor showing tonight. And it was then said that, I don't know where I put the note, I think Kobe himself said after the game, when he was told about what Byron Scott said about Kobe sitting out, that, yeah, that might make sense. In other words, Byron seems to be thinking about sitting Kobe some to rest him, and Kobe seems to be okay with that. So we're kind of getting to a new juncture here. I know that there were a lot of fans for Lakers that were thinking, okay, Kobe's just rusty. He kind of needs to get his legs back. He's been away for 18 months or whatever, mostly, although he had the 6 games last year. He just needs to kind of get the spring back in his legs. What seems to be happening, this is what I thought was going to happen, is that there is no coming back. And now that doesn't mean that Kobe will improve from coming back. There is rust on his game. And one example of this is his free throw shooting. When he first started this season, he was missing all kinds of free throws. Well, that has improved because he's learned how to adjust to his body now with the Achilles tendon surgery. There are adjustments you have to make because he can't jump as high, and etc. And there's not as much strength in the left leg where he had the surgery. So I do think Kobe will improve in terms of his shooting technique. He almost has to learn a different shooting technique now because he can't jump as high. And he's got to learn how to adjust to that. So I do think that will improve. I do not think that his legs will ever become really fresh again, though. And the reason why I say that is his mileage is just too much. When you're 36 years old with like 55,000 minutes played in the NBA, you don't get fresh legs, really, I don't think, particularly coming off of the Achilles injury. There's only a very few people who've ever played that many minutes. And there's 4 people that have played more minutes than Kobe in the history of the NBA. And 2 of them, when they were at the mileage that Kobe was at, they were pretty much done. And that's Jason Kidd and Wilt Chamberlain. The other 2 players who were not done were Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Karl Malone. The difference for Kareem and Karl Malone is 2 things. Number one, neither one of them had an Achilles injury, which changes your athletic ability. Number 2, they're both big men. They both played closer to the basket. So you don't have to be as athletic. So this isn't unexpected. It's probably the easiest way to say it as regards Kobe. I've said this. I know a lot of people didn't like me saying it, but this is kind of what I thought would happen. And we're starting to see it. And I do believe that Byron is going to need to play Kobe fewer minutes. And whatever that means, does that mean that he still plays 35 minutes a game, but he misses some games like back-to-backs? Maybe you do that. Maybe he plays every game, but you play him 30 minutes a game. Some change is going to have to occur because it's clear now that Kobe is wearing down. He's wearing out. And we saw it in the last game where Kobe did not look like himself at all, and he didn't look like himself tonight. So they're going to have to make changes. My guess is that Kobe will probably begin to practice less again, and I do think they're going to have to look at sitting him some games or cutting his minutes down because we're about a third of the way through the season, and at this pace, he's not going to make it. I just don't think he's going to make it if he keeps doing this, meaning either his efficiency is going to just completely tank or he could get hurt again, which nobody wants. So for him to get through the rest of this year and to get through next year, I think they're going to probably have to start doing fewer minutes for him per game and just kind of go to a different thing, which is everybody gets old. Nobody can play forever. It's just a natural thing, and as the saying goes, Father Time is undefeated. So Byron and Kobe will have to look at that, and we'll see how it develops. That will mean more opportunities for others on the team, such as Jeremy, such as the bench. So we'll have to see how it all shapes up. Finally, somebody put a note up somewhere. I don't remember where I saw it. I might have seen it at Lakers ground. I always am scouring different internet sites. I saw this after the game. Apparently, in the last 5 games for the Lakers starters are ranked 30 out of 30 in points per game. Meaning, as we've said, the starters aren't getting it done. Whereas supposedly in that same 5-game sample, the Lakers bench is supposedly ranked number 1 in the NBA in points per game. So it's what we've been seeing. Bench getting it done, starters not getting it done, which again makes us think about, is this the best starting lineup? Oh, maybe it is. If you win, it doesn't matter where your points come from as long as you get them. So if you're winning, well, okay, then it worked. But once you start to not win, then I think Barnes might have to look at making some changes to the starting lineup. And he's probably going to have to look at when he substitutes Kobe in and out. So maybe instead of letting Kobe play in the entire first quarter and the entire third quarter, maybe he plays 8 minutes in the first quarter, 8 minutes in the third quarter. So these are things to be looking at as we move forward here. Okay, that is about it. Let's talk about the next game coming up, and then we'll wrap things up. As I said, the game will be 2 days from now on Tuesday, December 23rd, against the Golden State Warriors. That game will take place at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, December 23rd, and it will be broadcast on Time Warner Cable Sportsnet, as well as League Pass and International League Pass. I believe the Warriors will be playing on a back-to-back, meaning I think that the Warriors play tomorrow night, and they'll be playing on the road. So the Lakers are going to have every advantage they can get going into that game. However, they're playing the best team in the NBA. The Warriors are clearly the best team right now in the league. And we know from our previous matchups with the Warriors this season, including the preseason, that it's going to be a very difficult game to win. Now, I think the Warriors will be without Andrew Bogut, their center, who is a big part of what they do. Still, the Lakers will be heavy underdogs. Hopefully we can get the win. That'll be fantastic. If we can, we will see how things go 2 days from now. Just to repeat, I may be gone for that game. I probably will be gone. So do not expect a video, and do not expect a video from me until at least the Denver game and maybe not the Memphis game, 4 or 5 games into the future. But we'll see. There's a chance I'll still be around. If I am around, I will try to do a video. Once again, I am PFV, Paul F. Villarreal. Thanks for watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Your comments below. We want to thank Gary Chen for the artwork you're looking at right now. Gary is an artist and blogger in Taiwan, and his information you will find in the video description below the video player. So you can go and check out Gary on Facebook. He's a great guy. He's nice. He's extremely talented. Gary's a member of the Jeremy Only Lin Garden fan group, which is a great bunch of people that is based in Taiwan, but is members all over the world. They're fantastic, and we appreciate all that they have done. Also in the video description, you'll see information so you can check out highlights of this game. Also information so you can come and follow us on Twitter. Come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group. If you want to know when the next video is going to come, I suggest you follow us on Twitter, because every time I do a video, I put it up there. That's the best, fastest source. I would guess also Google Plus, where you can know when the videos are getting done again after this break that I'm going to take. So that is it. We hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, good Kwanzaa, and any other holiday that you celebrate, winter solstice, whatever it is that you do, or if you don't celebrate anything, then just hope you're enjoying this time of the year. It's the beginning of winter in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is the start of summer down Melody Ting and others are in the Southern Hemisphere. So, again, we hope everybody is able to have a good, joyous holiday season, spend time with the families, eat some good food, do whatever it is that rejuvenates you. We're coming up into the new year, so people have to think about New Year's resolutions. What do you want to accomplish coming into the new year? What do you want to let go from 2014? What do you want to remember from 2014, etc., etc.? In terms of Jeremy, look, he played really well in the first half. In the second half, as I said, he was the wrong guy in the wrong place at the wrong time, because the foul with Ronnie and Darren Collison just turned the whole game. And Jeremy came in, and he was basically like a innocent bystander to the Kings' rage and momentum after that play occurred. And that's what happened. We'll see. Look, the Lakers have some very difficult games coming up. And unfortunately, we could be looking at an extended losing streak here, but hopefully that's not the case. If the Lakers are able to beat the Warriors, that would be the biggest win of the year. So hopefully on the 23rd, the team will be fired up, ready to go. Maybe Byron and Kobe will figure out whatever plan they have in terms of what Byron's going to do with Kobe's minutes, and we will take it from there. Until next time, until the next episode, The Jeremy Lin Show with Conservative Media, take care of yourselves, be well, have a great holiday season. If I don't see you guys, I don't know what's going to happen yet, but I will be around on Twitter and in the YouTube comments until I am gone, and I'll try to keep people updated there. So I'll look for you guys. Have a great night, a great day, wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. It's currently 4:22 early Monday, the 22nd of December 2014, which means it's 5:22 p.m. on Monday, December 22nd, 2014 in Taipei, Taiwan, Manila, the Philippines, and throughout China. That's it for now. We will talk to you again soon.